Hi dear students, welcome to the last and final part of Nationalism in India of class 10th CBSE History. In this last session, we are going to learn about the topic sense of collective belonging. First of all, let us understand what is meant by sense of collective belonging. It is nothing but the feeling of oneness or the feeling of togetherness. Or elaborately, we can say that it is nothing but the feeling of nationalism. Nationalism began to spread when people began to believe that they are the part of the same nation. Before British came to India, we were divided into hundreds of local kingdoms. We had no unity, we had no country. During British period, they divided us and ruled. So they did not give us an opportunity to feel that we belong to a same motherland. So when we start protesting against British, we began to feel that there is something that unite all of us. The sense of collective belonging came partly from the united struggle. When we start fighting against the common enemy British, we slowly began to feel that we belong to same country or same nation or a same objective. History and fiction, folklore and popular prints, symbols made a common role creating a sense of collective belonging. So just understand that the history of India, the fictions, the literature, folklore or folk songs, popular prints, symbols, all of these played a very important role for creating the feeling of oneness or the feeling of nationalism among the Indians. First of all, let us discuss figures or images. Figures or images were the first method used by Indian nationalists to create the feeling of nationalism or the feeling of oneness among Indians. The identity of nation most often symbolized through figures or images. As you know, every country has its own flag, has its own national symbols, just to feel the people of that country that they all belong to a single nation. It was in 20th century that the growth of nationalism as well as the identity of India came to be associated with the image of Bharat Mata. The image of Bharat Mata was first created by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyaya. Have you seen the picture of Bharat Mata? Here in this image you can see the picture of Bharat Mata. It is nothing but the mother India. In 1870s, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyaya wrote Vande Mataram as a hymn to the mother country. So all of us know the beautiful song Vande Mataram. Later it was used in his novel Ananda Madh and was widely sung during Swadeshi movement. So Bharat Mata figure was first drawn by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyaya. Even his great song Vande Mataram was very famously sung all over the country during Swadeshi movement. And moved by Swadeshi movement, Abanindranath Tagore also painted his famous image of Bharat Mata. So different national leaders have painted different images of Bharat Mata. Abanindranath Tagore drew a picture which is very ascetic, as calm, composed, divine and spiritual. Later, many artists drew different models of Bharat Mata and the figure became an evidence of one's nationalism. Just understand that by drawing Bharat Mata, Bankim-Chandra Chattopadhyaya as well as Abanindranath Tagore and many other Indian nationalists, they created an idea in the mind of Indians that we all belong to a same mother country, that is Bharat. So Bharat Mata as a mother of all the citizens of the country. Such a kind of a feeling was created by the figure of Bharat Mata. Next, let us see how is Indian folklore played a role to create the feeling of oneness or the feeling of nationalism among Indians. Let us understand what is folklore. All unwritten traditional beliefs, legends, and customs are termed as folklore. In late 19th century, the nationalists collected and recorded many folk tales sung by the poets, and they toured through the villages to collect folk songs and legends. You know, there are hundreds of folk songs, folklores, stories, even in Karnataka and every state. That all tells about the glories of the past. That is a very nostalgic feeling for everyone of a particular place. So here, these Indian folklores, which picturized the greatness of India, was reused by the Indian nationalists to create the feeling of nationalism. These tales give a true picture of tradition and culture which were damaged by outside forces. All the folklores create gives a very good picture of our Indian tradition and culture. One's national identity can be understood from folk tales. One's national identity can be understood from the folk tales of his or her country. In Bengal, Tagore himself collected ballads, nursery rhymes, and myths. In Madras, Nadesha Shastri published a massive 4 volume of Tamil folk tales, which was named as the Folklore of South India. So in Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore himself collected the folklores, nursery rhymes, myths. In Madras, Nadesha Shastri published a book called The Folklore of South India, which comprised hundreds of folktales and folklores. Nadesha Shastri believed that the folklore is the national literature which manifests the real thoughts and characteristics of people. So, dear children, just understand that, like figures and images, even the Indian local songs, Indian folk songs, Indian folklores, folk stories were compiled, reinterpreted, and distributed among the people to show the great legacy of Indian tradition and culture and create the feeling of oneness among the Indians. Dear students, thirdly, let us understand about symbols. Every country has its own symbols. We have national symbol as a Ashoka Chakra and Ashoka Stamba. We have a national flag. We have a national bird, national animal, national river, etc. etc. So here, During Swadeshi movement in Bengal, a tricolor flag was designed. During Swadeshi movement, a flag was designed. As you know, every country has its own flag. So a country is recognized by the flag. Whenever we see Indian flag, we understand it belongs to the country India. So every country like America, Britain, whichever the country you consider, every country has its own flag, and every flag is prepared and exhibited or used with lots of rules and regulations. So India, we had first flag during Swadeshi movement, and its colors were red, green and yellow. It has a lotus representing 8 provinces of British India and a crescent moon representing Hindus and Muslims. So in the symbol you can find that the Swadeshi flag, which had a lotus which shows 8 provinces of British India and a crescent moon representing Hindus and Muslims. As you know, the moon represents Hindus as well as Muslims. In 1921, secondly, Gandhiji designed a Swadeshi flag. Its colors were red, green and white. So instead of yellow, Gandhiji's flag of 1921 had red, green and white. It also had a spinning wheel in the center representing the Gandhian idea of self-help. So here we are just understanding two important flags. One is Swadeshi flag of Swadeshi movement and second one is Gandhian flag of 1921. Do you know who have prepared the present Indian flag of India? Yes, it is prepared by Pingali Vengayya, a person of Andhra Pradesh who have designed the present Indian flag. Dear children, in the last part of this chapter, we are going to understand the another important method used by the Indian nationalist to create a feeling of nationalism. That is nothing but the reinterpretation of Indian history. Reinterpretation or redefine of Indian history. Reinterpretation of Indian history created the feeling of nationalism among Indians. As you know, British posterized Indians as backward, primitive, and capable of only a manual work, not fit for governing themselves. So British people had spoiled the confidence of Indians about themselves. So in response, Indians wanted to look into the past to discover India's past glory. So British convinced the Indians that they are not fit for anything. So the nationalists, what they did was they just brought the old history, the ancient history of India, and reinterpreted and told the people or showed the people how great India was during medieval as well as ancient time. They wrote about glorious development of the past. They showed about the art and architecture, the changes and developments that happened, science and maths, and the great glory of India in religion and culture, law and philosophy, craft and trade, etc., etc., etc. So whichever the topic you consider in the past, India was the center of the world. So this reinterpretation of Indian history made the people of India to realize that India was great enough to defend the foreign forces. India was great enough, valiant to protect itself. So when the past was glorified, images were drawn on Hindu iconology and others were left out. So people were inspired by all these efforts, and this effort of unification also brought some problems. So just understand that Indian history was reinterpreted and It was used to create the sense of oneness among the people. But when the past was glorified, there happened a mistake that the images were drawn on Hindu iconology and others were left out. So Bharat Mata figure or whatever you consider, there was an effect of Hindu religion. So Muslim religion and other minority religions felt a little aloof. Congress under Gandhiji tried to unify all these groups under Indian national movement. So dear children, in this last part of sense of collective belonging, you just understand about the figures or images, Indian folklore, the symbols, as well as reinterpretation of history. These four topics, how these four topics were used by the nationalists of India to create the feeling of oneness and national spirit among Indians. Dear children, today we have completed the nationalism in India, the big chapter, within 7 videos. Watch all the videos once again and refresh your memory. What are the doubts you have about any of these topics? Please convey to me. Read the lesson very thoroughly again and again and underline the important points. And today I will be sending along with this lesson the notes, the classwork notes. So I am including the today's homework questions also in this classwork. So just copy this classwork in your notebooks and send me before evening. Thank you.